There are hours in your day when your spirit is either strongest or completely exposed. Most people fast randomly, some fast religiously, but very few understand this. There are 5 specific fasting hours that make dark intentions powerless. When you master these hours, no curse can touch you, no evil intention can stay near you, no negative energy can enter your field, because fasting is not about food, it is about control, and control is spiritual power. Today, I will show you the 5 fasting hours that make every witchcraft assignment impossible. Listen carefully. Most people misunderstand fasting. They think it is about food. They think it is about skipping meals, about enduring hunger, about proving something to others. But fasting was never about starvation. It was never about punishment. It is about command. It is about authority over the body. The body is powerful. It has impulses. It has cravings. It demands comfort. It demands satisfaction. And if you observe carefully, you will see something very important. Most people do not control their bodies control them. When the body feels hungry, they become irritated. When the body feels tired, they become lazy. When the body desires pleasure, they follow immediately. There is no space between impulse and action. And this is where weakness begins. Spiritual weakness does not start with curses. It does not start with rituals. It starts with a lack of discipline. When you cannot say no to your own hunger, how will you say no to anger? When you cannot endure a small discomfort, how will you endure emotional pressure? When your body commands and you obey instantly, your spirit slowly loses authority. Fasting reverses this relationship. When hunger appears and you remain calm, something shifts. You are telling the body, you are not the master. When the stomach makes noise and you continue with clarity, you are strengthening inner command. You are creating distance between desire and reaction. And in that distance, there is power. Understand this clearly. Negative forces, harmful intentions, and dark projections do not enter through strength. They enter through instability, through emotional cracks, through uncontrolled reactions. Fear is a doorway. Anger is a doorway. Greed is a doorway. Desperation is a doorway. If someone becomes hungry and immediately becomes angry, they are easily influenced. If someone becomes uncomfortable and immediately complains, they are easily destabilized. But the one who can remain steady while the body is uncomfortable, that person is difficult to disturb. Fasting trains this steadiness. It teaches you to observe desire without becoming it. It teaches you to witness discomfort without collapsing into it. It builds a quiet endurance, and endurance is protection. This is why true fasting is not dramatic. It is silent. It is internal. No one needs to know you are fasting. No one needs to praise you. The work is happening inside. You are rebuilding the hierarchy within yourself. The body returns to its proper place as a servant, not a ruler. When the body obeys, emotions calm down. When emotions calm down, thoughts become clear. When thoughts are clear, fear loses its grip. And when fear is gone, manipulation has nowhere to attach. The person who controls appetite controls reaction. The person who controls reaction controls energy. And the one who controls energy cannot be spiritually shaken. This is why fasting is not about food. It is about reclaiming authority over yourself. The hour before sunrise is different. The world is quiet. The noise has not yet begun. The phones are silent. The demands of the day have not started pulling at your attention. In this hour, the mind is naturally clearer. The air feels lighter. Even your thoughts move more slowly. This is not accidental. Before sunrise, your nervous system is in a delicate balance. You are neither fully in the chaos of activity nor fully in the depth of sleep. You are between worlds, and in that space, awareness is sharper. If you choose to fast during this hour, not only from food but from distraction, something powerful begins to happen. Most weakness grows in noise. Fear grows when the mind is overstimulated. Anxiety grows when there are too many voices. But in silence, fear struggles to survive. In stillness, clarity becomes strong. When you wake before sunrise and remain disciplined, when you do not rush to consume, when you do not rush to scroll, when you do not rush to react, you are strengthening your inner command. Hunger may be there, sleepiness may be there, but instead of being controlled by these sensations, you observe them, and observation creates distance. That distance is spiritual authority. This early hour is also the hour of intention. Whatever you impress upon your mind during this time sinks deeper. If your first action of the day is discipline, your entire day carries that structure. If your first action is awareness, your mind remains guarded. But if your first action is distraction, your energy becomes scattered. Understand this clearly. Scattered energy is vulnerable energy. When you fast during the hour before sunrise, you are not only denying the body food, you are aligning your system. You are telling yourself, I begin this day in control. The world has not yet touched you. No one has influenced your mood. No one has tested your patience. In this untouched state, your spirit is strong. Many people feel spiritually disturbed because they begin their day in reaction. They wake up late, they rush, they check messages, they absorb stress immediately. By the time the sun rises, they are already drained, already reactive, already open. But the one who guards the pre-sunrise hour builds a shield before the world awakens. When you sit in that silence, fasting, breathing calmly, aware of your hunger but not enslaved by it, you are strengthening something invisible. Your mind becomes less impulsive, your emotions become less volatile, your presence becomes heavier, more stable, and stability is protection. This hour teaches you to move before the world moves you. It teaches you to stand before being pushed. It teaches you to choose before being influenced. If you master this hour, your entire day carries the imprint of discipline, and the one who owns the first hour of the day owns the direction of their energy. The early morning is calm. It supports you, but midday does not support you. Midday challenges you. Around the middle of the day, the body begins to demand more strongly. Energy starts to dip, hunger becomes louder, the mind becomes slightly irritated, the patience you had in the morning begins to thin out. Small things feel bigger, small inconveniences feel personal. This is not coincidence. This is pressure, and pressure reveals your level of discipline. When you are fasting during this hour, you are not only dealing with hunger, you are dealing with ego. The ego does not like discomfort. It does not like being denied. It wants relief. It wants satisfaction. It wants immediate response. Watch people around midday. Notice how quickly they react, how easily they become frustrated, how small situations turn into arguments. It is not always the situation. It is the state of the body influencing the stability of the mind. If hunger controls your mood, then your environment controls your peace. And the person whose peace is controlled by the environment is easy to disturb. This is why the midday hour is so powerful. It is the training ground of emotional immunity. When hunger rises and you remain steady, you are building resilience. When irritation appears and you choose silence instead of reaction, you are strengthening mastery. When your energy dips and you continue your work with awareness instead of complaint, you are sharpening your inner authority. This hour teaches you how to remain centered when your system is under demand. Understand this deeply. Most spiritual weakness does not happen in moments of calm. It happens in moments of stress. When you are tired, when you are hungry, when you are emotionally drained, that is when fear feels stronger. That is when doubt feels convincing. That is when negativity finds space. But if you train yourself to remain stable during the natural stress of midday fasting, you are preparing for greater pressures in life. You are teaching your nervous system not to panic. You are teaching your mind not to exaggerate discomfort. You are teaching your emotions not to dominate your decisions. The midday hour is where discipline becomes visible. It is easy to feel spiritual when everything is quiet. It is easy to feel strong when you are comfortable. But can you remain calm when your stomach tightens? Can you remain respectful when your energy drops? Can you remain focused when your body wants relief? If you can, then you are no longer ruled by impulse. And when impulse no longer rules you, manipulation loses its entry point. Many people think protection comes from external rituals, but the strongest protection is a stable mind, a mind that does not swing wildly with hunger, a mind that does not lash out under pressure, a mind that does not collapse when tired. Midday fasting refines this stability. It makes you aware of your reactions. It shows you where you are weak. And if you observe carefully instead of reacting blindly, you begin to close those weaknesses. By mastering yourself at your most irritable hour, you become unshakable when life tests you, and the one who remains calm at midday cannot be easily moved by anything. There is another moment in the day that is often overlooked, yet it carries a subtle vulnerability: the hour of sunset. Sunset is not just a visual beauty in the sky, it is a transition, and transitions are delicate. When the light fades and day turns into night, your body and mind also begin to shift. Energy that was outward all day starts to turn inward. Activity slows, reflection increases, the nervous system prepares to move from action into rest. In this shift, stability can weaken if you are not aware. All day you have been doing, speaking, responding, solving. At sunset, there is a natural drop in momentum. Fatigue may surface. Emotions that were suppressed during busy hours may begin to rise. Thoughts you ignored during the day may start knocking at the door of your awareness. This is why many people feel unusually sensitive in the evening. Small loneliness feels bigger, small worries feel heavier, small doubts feel louder. It is not because something external suddenly changed. It is because your energy is transitioning. And during transitions, if you are unconscious, gaps appear. Fasting during this hour is powerful because it forces you to remain aware while your system is shifting. Instead of immediately seeking comfort, food, distraction, noise, you stay present. You observe the drop in energy without panicking. You observe the emotional waves without drowning in them. Most people rush to fill the sunset gap. They eat quickly, they scroll endlessly, they seek stimulation. But what they are really doing is escaping the discomfort of transition. When you escape, you weaken your center. But when you remain steady, you strengthen it. As the sun sets, ask yourself, can I stay balanced as the light fades? Can I remain disciplined when my body wants comfort? Can I stay conscious when my mind begins to wander? Because this wandering mind is where instability grows. Even psychologically, transitions require adjustment. The brain shifts its rhythm, hormones adjust. If you are unaware, mood swings become stronger. But if you stay mindful, especially while fasting, you are guiding this transition instead of being controlled by it. You are telling your system, even in change, I remain stable. This is important. Life itself is constant transition. Youth to age, success to challenge, gain to loss. If you cannot remain balanced at sunset, how will you remain balanced during larger life changes? The sunset hour trains adaptability without weakness. It trains softness without collapse. It teaches you to flow without losing structure. When you guard this hour with awareness, you close subtle openings. You do not allow fatigue to turn into negativity. You do not allow reflection to turn into self-doubt. You do not allow silence to turn into fear. You remain centered as the world shifts around you, and the one who stays centered during transition leaves no doorway open for disturbance. Now we enter the deepest hour. Midnight is not just a time on the clock. It is a psychological space. It is the hour when the world is quiet, but the mind is not. During the day, distractions protect you from yourself. Conversations, responsibilities, noise, they keep your attention outward. But at midnight, there is nothing to hide behind. And this is where many people feel vulnerable. In the darkness, imagination becomes stronger. Unresolved fears become louder. Regrets replay. Future worries grow larger than they truly are. The same mind that felt stable in daylight begins to create shadows. Understand this carefully. Darkness does not create fear. It reveals what was already inside. When you are fasting and conscious during this hour, even if you wake briefly, even if you simply remain disciplined before sleep, you are training your mind not to exaggerate those shadows. You are training yourself to observe thoughts without believing them immediately. Midnight represents the subconscious. It represents what you have not processed. And if your mind is undisciplined, it can turn small concerns into powerful illusions. This is why so many anxieties feel stronger at night. The body is tired. The logical mind is softer. Emotional memory becomes more active. Without awareness, you begin to identify with every thought that passes through. But the one who has practiced fasting discipline carries stability into the night. Because fasting is not just physical, it sharpens awareness, it reduces impulsiveness, it builds the ability to sit with discomfort. And this ability is crucial when facing the mind in darkness. When fear appears at midnight, do not fight it, observe it. When doubt whispers, do not panic, witness it. When imagination creates worst-case scenarios, breathe and return to stillness. You must understand that thoughts are not commands. They are movements of energy. If you chase them, they grow. If you fear them, they intensify. But if you observe them calmly, they weaken. Midnight teaches you inner courage. It is easy to feel brave when surrounded by light and activity. But can you remain calm alone in silence? Can you trust your stability when there is no external reassurance? Can you sit in darkness without creating monsters in your own mind? This is mental purification. When you fast and maintain discipline throughout the day, your nervous system becomes less reactive. Your mind becomes less dramatic. So when midnight comes, instead of chaos, there is clarity. You begin to see how much of fear is self-created. You begin to see how many disturbances are exaggerated by imagination. And in that realization, power returns to you because what you understand no longer controls you. The midnight hour is not something to fear. It is something to master. It is the test of your internal order. If you can remain stable in the deepest silence, nothing external can easily disturb you. You can fast from food. You can wake before sunrise. You can remain calm at midday. You can guard yourself at sunset. You can stay conscious at midnight. But if your tongue is uncontrolled and your mind is undisciplined, you reopen every door you worked so hard to close. The most dangerous leaks of energy do not come from hunger, they come from speech. Watch carefully how much weakness is created through talking. People reveal their plans too early. They expose their fears casually. They share their wounds with those who do not have the maturity to hold them. They complain about their struggles. They speak about their ambitions. They react emotionally in conversations. And with every unnecessary word, they give away power. Speech is energy leaving the body. When you talk excessively, you scatter your focus. When you gossip, you lower your vibration. When you complain, you strengthen negativity in your own mind. When you argue impulsively, you lose stability. This is why fasting the tongue is more powerful than fasting the stomach. To fast the tongue means you speak only when necessary. You do not explain yourself to everyone. You do not defend your every action. You do not respond to every provocation. You allow silence to carry your strength. Silence is not weakness. Silence is containment. When you are silent, people cannot measure your intentions. They cannot predict your next move. They cannot use your own words against you. But more importantly, you protect your inner structure. And then there is the fasting of the mind. Because even if your mouth is closed, your mind may still be noisy. You may be arguing internally, complaining internally, judging internally, comparing internally. This also drains energy. To fast, the mind means you refuse to entertain every negative thought. You refuse to replay every insult. You refuse to imagine worst-case scenarios. You notice thoughts, but you do not feed them. Most spiritual instability begins in uncontrolled thinking. If someone insults you and you replay it for hours, you are the one reopening the wound. If someone doubts you and you obsess over it, you are strengthening their influence inside your own head. But when you fast the mind, you interrupt that pattern. You say, "This thought does not deserve my energy." And slowly, your inner space becomes cleaner. A clean mind is difficult to disturb. Understand this clearly. Discipline over food builds strength. Discipline over speech builds protection. Discipline over thought builds mastery. When you combine all three, your presence changes. You become less reactive, less predictable, less emotionally available to manipulation. Your energy becomes compact, focused, grounded. And the person whose mind is controlled, whose tongue is restrained, and whose body is disciplined cannot be easily penetrated by negativity, because nothing leaves them carelessly, and nothing enters them without awareness. Master your silence, and you master your shield.